What if I told you that one of America's most successful grocery chains operates on principles that completely contradict everything we think we know about retail? No loyalty programs, no flashy advertising, stores that kind of look frozen in time, and yet they generate more sales per square foot than almost any other grocery store in the country. I'm Sammi Cohen, and this is Social Currency, a podcast that unpacks the stories that are shaping business, culture, and the intersection of the two. Welcome back to Social Currency. I'm Sammi Cohen, and today we are diving into the cult-like phenomenon that is Trader Joe's. This isn't just another business success story. It's a masterclass in how breaking every rule in the book can sometimes be exactly what works. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand why millions of customers don't just shop at Trader Joe's, they evangelize for it. And more importantly, you'll discover the counterintuitive strategies that any business can actually learn from. This episode has a special place in my heart because I spent the beginning of my career at Aldi, which is kind of like a distant cousin of a grocery store to Trader Joe's. Both companies are related, which we'll get into, even though they've been operationally separate. They have many of the same types of business practices, so a lot of this is very familiar to me. So grab your canvas tote bag and let's unpack the history of the most beloved grocery store in the US and the business strategies that have set them apart. The founder of Trader Joe's was Joe Coulombe, and he was a Stanford grad. For the sake of this episode, I'm going to be calling him Founder Joe. In the early 1960s, Founder Joe was running several Pronto markets, which was kind of a type of convenience store that was similar to 7-Eleven of its day. Founder Joe was actually very astute, and he could see that there was this socioeconomic shift happening where people were getting more educated thanks to the GI Bill of Rights. He was a visionary in that he could see that this bill would create fundamental changes in human behavior and consumption. He wanted to provide an elevated but economical shopping experience for a specific group of people, and he called these people overeducated and underpaid. He wanted to create an experience that was really built for this group in mind. And in 1967, Joe opened the first Trader Joe's in Pasadena, California. The store sold everything from discounted paperbacks and records to flashlights. And fun fact, the original store location is still around today. At first, Founder Joe planned for Trader Joe's to be tiny at just 4,500 square feet, closer to a convenience store size. Yet the building that the location was in was almost twice that size. So Founder Joe expanded the wine selection, bringing in 17 brands of California wine, whereas a gourmet competitor had only around 7. In 1969, Trader Joe's started publishing a precursor to its now infamous Fearless Flyer newsletter. At the time, it was called the Insider's Wine Report, and it helped their underage employees explain the bottles to customers since they themselves couldn't taste the wine. And a good part of this design was actually influenced by David Ogilvy's book, Confessions of an Advertising Man. The flyer was renamed to Fearless Flyer in 1985 after a Canadian grocer paid Founder Joe $100,000 to use the name The Insider's Report. And in 1972, Trader Joe's created its first private label product, which was granola. At the time, granola was still considered to be a hippie food. And after this, they started incorporating their own brands into most of their product selection, and over time, this became their primary product sourcing strategy. Today, around 80% of Trader Joe's products are private label, and customers still treat it like a treasure hunt, always on the lookout for a seasonal or new item. Founder Joe remained with the company until 1988 per the LA Times. Eventually, after stepping back from the company, Founder Joe went on to serve as president and chief executive for several other retailers. He passed away in 2020 at the age of 89. And Founder Joe was well aware of the success that he had built over his lifetime. He wrote a memoir called Becoming Trader Joe: How I Did Business My Way and Still Beat the Big Guys, which was published posthumously in 2021. In his memoir, he wrote about how he purposefully cultivated customer obsession for the company. He said, "We deliberately tried to make it a cult once we got a handle on what we were actually doing." So he definitely succeeded in getting to cult level status. So let's begin with what might be Trader Joe's most brilliant strategy: giving you fewer choices, not more. If you walk into a typical supermarket, you're faced with 40,000 to 50,000 different products. There are 17 different types of ketchup, 43 varieties of breakfast cereal. It's overwhelming, and there's actually a name for this. It's called decision paralysis. Trader Joe's flipped this on its head. They stock only about 4,000 products. That's 90% fewer options than their competitors. And customers absolutely love it. Why? Because decision making is exhausting. Every choice you make depletes your mental energy. Trader Joe's eliminates that fatigue by curating everything for you. They're essentially saying, trust us. We've already done the hard work of finding the best version of whatever you need. But here's where it gets really clever. That limited selection creates a sense of scarcity. When something isn't always available, we want it more. Ever notice how Trader Joe's seasonal items develop cult-like followings? People hoard pumpkin spice everything in October, knowing that it will disappear in December. They've turned grocery shopping from a chore into a treasure hunt. You're not just buying groceries, you're discovering hidden gems that your friends might not know about yet. That psychology of exclusivity makes you value each item more because you feel as if it's limited and special. The strategy is so effective that Trader Joe's customers spend an average of 30% more per visit than customers at traditional supermarkets. Fewer choices, more sales. It's counterintuitive, but it works. Now, let's chat about my favorite part of their model, which is their private label strategy. This is where Trader Joe's really shows their business genius. About 80% of everything in the store is their own brand or private label. And these aren't just generic knockoffs, of course. These are carefully crafted products that often taste better than the name brands. Most grocery stores make their money by charging suppliers for shelf space. It's like renting real estate. Coca-Cola pays premium pricing for eye-level placement in the store. But Trader Joe's doesn't play that game. Instead, they work directly with manufacturers to create exclusive products under the Trader Joe's label. This gives them incredible control over quality and cost. They can specify exactly how their products are made, where the ingredients come from, and what the final product should taste like. Since Trader Joe's operates at tremendous scale, they have the millions of units that give them the leverage with virtually every manufacturer in the US. This is also why it's so hard for smaller food companies to get line time at US manufacturers. There are minimum order quantities that they have to hit, but that's obviously no issue for Trader Joe's. Plus, without the middleman markup, they can offer premium quality at lower prices. Take their famous $2 Chuck wine. This is Charles Shaw wine that they famously sold for $1.99 starting in 2002. This is one of the most talked about products that Trader Joe's sells. It has won taste tests against wines costing significantly more. They partnered directly with California wineries to create a product that delivered quality without the bloated marketing budget. Also, fully noting that it's definitely not the best wine in the world, but for $2, I would say it's pretty great. And in a profile in the New Yorker from 2009 that I was reading about $2 Chuck, there was an interesting quote from Fred Franzia, who is the owner of Bronco Wine Company, the company behind Charles Shaw Wines. He says, "You tell me why someone's bottle is worth $80 and mine's worth $2. Do you get 40 times the pleasure from it?" And I just love this quote because I actually kind of agree with it. And I know that the wine snobs will come after me for saying this, but I also can't tell the difference in a wine once it gets over around $20 or so. And I just think that this whole sentiment of paying a good price for a quality product actually plays really well into this whole private label concept. It's clear that so many brands charge you a markup for their marketing, but they don't actually make up the difference in quality to justify that price. And I have to talk about the marketing and packaging of their private label brands. They try to make each product feel bespoke and artisanal, even though it's coming from a major manufacturer and it's quite mainstream. The packaging tells a story. The names are playful. Each product feels like a discovery and not a compromise. The private label strategy creates margins that would make other retailers weep with envy. While typical grocery stores operate on razor-thin margins of 1% to 3%, Trader Joe's healthy private label business gives them so much more breathing room to invest on what really matters: their people and their customer experience. If you walk into any Trader Joe's, you'll notice something unusual. The the crew members, actually seem to be somewhat happy to be there. They're not just polite, they're usually pretty genuine and enthusiastic. enthusiastic. In an industry known for high turnover and low morale, how does Trader Joe create this sense of culture? First, they pay well. Trader Joe's crew members can typically earn 20 to 30% more than employees at other grocery chains. Full-time workers get health insurance, dental, vision, and a retirement plan. In retail, these benefits are very hard to come by. Now, Trader Joe's isn't quite at the Costco level, but better than most supermarket chains. And it's not just about the money. Trader Joe's promotes almost exclusively from within. That crew member helping you find the perfect cheese might be promoted next year and then move up to a mate, which is their version of an assistant store manager, and then a captain who is running their own store. There's a real career path there, and it's not just a one-off job. The company also trusts their employees in ways that seem kind of radical for retail. Crew members can open any product for customers to try, and they're empowered to make decisions on the spot. Now, this creates a sense of psychological ownership for their workers. And when employees feel trusted and empowered, they naturally take better care of customers and the business. It's why Trader Joe's employees will walk you to a product instead of just pointing, and why they have genuine conversations with customers about their favorite items. The Hawaiian shirts and the hand-drawn signs aren't just quirky branding. They're a part of a carefully crafted culture that says, we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we take taking care of you very seriously. And here's the business impact of the employee treatment and pay. Employee turnover at Trader Joe's is significantly lower than industry average. Lower turnover means lower training costs, better customer service, and employees who actually know where things are. It's a virtuous cycle that starts with treating people well. In an age of slick marketing campaigns and social media blitzes, Trader Joe's has remained defiantly old school. They spend almost nothing on traditional advertising. No celebrity endorsements, no flashy commercials. One of their biggest marketing expenses is the hand-drawn signs that you see in their stores. They hire real human artists to create these hand-drawn signs, so these are definitely not computer printed. And the fact that they're still doing this in the year 2025 is all strategic authenticity. In a world where every brand is trying to engage with customers on 17 different social media platforms, Trader Joe's maintains mystique by staying quiet for the most part. They let their products and their customer service do the talking. The stores look as if they were designed in 1975 and haven't really been updated all that much. Each store's signs are often customized with local references and imagery, making the store feel like a part of the community. And while competitors spend millions on store redesigns every year, Trader Joe's keeps things simple and puts the money towards better products and employee wages. This anti-corporate aesthetic creates trust. When a store doesn't look like it was designed by a marketing committee, shoppers assume that the focus is on what really matters, which is the food. But perhaps the most anti-corporate decision was staying private. While competitors went public and became beholden to quarterly earnings pressures, Trader Joe's remained privately held by Germany's Albrecht family. This gives them the freedom to make long-term decisions without worrying about next quarter's stock price. They can invest in employee wages, experiment with unusual products, and maintain the unique culture without shareholders demanding immediate return. It's capitalism with a longer time horizon, and it served them incredibly well. The result? A brand that feels authentic in an increasingly artificial retail landscape. Customers don't just shop there, they identify with the brand. They carry these canvas tote bags as badges of honor. And I want to speak about the consumer psychology that they've engineered. Trader Joe's has weaponized one of the most powerful forces in consumer psychology, FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Their seasonal products create a genuine sense of urgency. Pumpkin JoJo cookies show up in September and then disappear by January. Cookie butter becomes a cultural phenomenon precisely because it's not always available. When customers know something won't be there forever, they buy it now and they tell their friends about it. They've also mastered the art of strategic secrecy. Try to find out who actually makes their products and you'll hit a wall of non-disclosure agreements. That Trader Joe's branded almond butter, it might be made by the same company that produces the premium brand selling for twice the price, but they will never tell you. This mystery creates a sense of brand mythology. Customers develop theories about which name brands are actually behind Trader Joe's products. They trade insider knowledge like currency. And the discontinued product cull is is particularly fascinating. There are entire Facebook groups dedicated to bringing these beloved items back. Customers petition, plead, and mourn discounted products like lost friends. And this emotional investment is marketing gold. You can't buy that kind of customer passion. And even their product development process is shrouded in mystery. They taste test thousands of potential products each year, but only introduce a few hundred. Now, the ones that make it through feel very special, chosen, and it's curation as a competitive advantage. The scarcity and mystery doesn't just drive sales, it creates evangelists. Trader Joe's customers don't just recommend the store, they initiate others into the cult, sharing secret knowledge about the best products and optimal shopping strategies. Last year, Trader Joe's set off a frenzy when customers tried to snap up their mini canvas tote bags, and this item became as coveted as the popular Stanley Cups, if not more. The standard canvas tote is also pretty trendy right now in Japan, as this is the epitome of AmeriCorps. And another Trader Joe's story that made the fandom headlines was when a traveler returned from the US with 20 bottles of everything but the bagel seasoning, and they had to surrender it all at the airport in South Korea. And this is because the mix contains poppy seeds, which the country has banned because they're considered a narcotic. And one of the telltale signs of a strong brand is when a brand's customers decide to create their own communication channels to talk about how much they love the brand. Nowadays, there are podcasts, Instagram and TikTok pages, subreddits, and Facebook groups that are all dedicated to the love of Trader Joe's. And as a side note, this is a theme that I've seen with other companies that have next level dedicated fan bases. I remember reading a newsletter article from Rex Woodbury where he interviewed Ben Lang. And Ben was one of the early fans who set up Notion peer communities. He loved Notion so much that he built a website where people could share Notion templates. He launched a Facebook group for fans of Notion and tweeted about the product. And he did this all for free because he genuinely loved the product so much. And he even ended up getting hired as Notion's head of community because of all of this. And the last statistic I'll add about the positive sentiment for Trader Joe's across the US is this. A 2016 study by Zillow found that the arrival of Trader Joe's caused neighborhood rent and property values to increase faster than the city average. Trader Joe's fanatics have the same level of dedication, if not more, for the Trader Joe's brand than for the individual Trader Joe's products themselves. Now, here is the final twist in the Trader Joe's story. This quirky, neighborhood-friendly, and anti-corporate grocery chain is actually owned by one of Germany's wealthiest families. Theo Albrecht was the brother of Karl Albrecht. The two expanded dozens of stores across Germany and then split the family business in 1961. Karl's business, Aldi Süd, would eventually lead to the Aldi stores in North America. Those are the ones that I worked for, while Theo's oversaw Aldi Nord. In 1979, Aldi Nord quietly purchased Trader Joe's. So this all-American success story is actually powered by this German efficiency and long-term thinking. The outsider perspective might be exactly what American retail needed. The Albrechts brought a different philosophy, and they wanted to optimize for the long game, focus on fundamentals, and not get distracted by trends. While American retailers chased the latest shiny objects, loyalty programs, mobile apps, endless promotions, Trader Joe's stuck to the basics: good products, fair prices, and happy employees. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to succeed in a market is to ignore what everyone else is doing and just focus on what actually matters to customers. So, what can we learn from Trader Joe's? Success doesn't always come from giving customers more options. Sometimes it comes from giving them better options. Authenticity beats flash in the long run, and treating your employees well isn't just good karma, it's good business. In a world obsessed with disruption and innovation, Trader Joe's proves that sometimes the most radical thing that you can possibly do is focus on the fundamentals and do them exceptionally well. And with that, that is the rundown on Trader Joe's. Feel free to message me to let me know your thoughts on this week's episode, and if you enjoyed this mini deep dive, subscribe for more so you're always in the know. See you next week. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Social Currency. I've been wanting to launch this show for so long. I can't tell you how excited I am to do this and how thrilled I am that you're actually here listening. It means the world to me. If you liked what you heard today, please rate and review the podcast because it massively helps to support the work I do to bring the show to life. And if you want to keep up with the hottest business lore in real time, follow me on Instagram at Sammi Cohen Talks and subscribe to my newsletter, Social Currency, which is linked in the show notes. Social Currency is a production of Social Currency Media and Money News Network. The podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Sammi Cohen. Social Currency is produced by the Money News Network team. See you next time.